PD calls Officer Christopher Wooten.
In the interim, with the lawyer's approach, please.
Yes, Judge.
Come on up. Thank you.
You could raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear from the testimony you'll give the court the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can take a seat. Can you go ahead and state your name?
Christopher Wooten,
And how are you employed?
employed as a police officer with the Glynn County Police Department
How long you been with Glynn County for?
since August of 2016.
Were you anywhere else in law enforcement prior to August of 2016, or was that your start into law enforcement?
Started with Glynn County.
Got it. What currently is your role with Glynn County?
I'm a field training officer, primarily.
And what does that entail as a field training officer?
Whenever we have recruits to graduate from the academy, I take them out in the field and train them, show them the ins and outs of police work and our current policies with the department.
Do you ride along with them in the same patrol car? Do you just respond to scenes with different training officers? What does that look like?
Initially, I'm in the car with them. It's just not until the later phases that I do shadow them and they are in their own vehicle, but I still show up to calls with them.
So back in February of 2025, were you a field training officer as well back then?
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point, were you field training officer for Officer Melton?
I was.
And did you respond to an incident with him at 1015 Beach View Drive on February 1st of 2025?
Yes.
And once you got on scene, what was your role on scene?
He was in the later phases of his training, so I was, like stated earlier, I was just shadowing him. He was taking the primary officer role on calls.
So when you get on scene, where did you go? Do you go knock on a door? Do you see people outside? What do you do?
We just heard of a disturbance at the Unit 305, and we were listening as we were walking up, and we did hear some commotion up there, so we went and knocked on the door, and we got an answer.
And did a female and a male end up answering the door?
Female was the first one to the door.
Once the female came out, at any point did you go inside and speak with the male?
A few minutes after I did.
A few minutes after?
We asked him to stay inside so we can keep them separated, to figure out exactly what was going on.
And that was Mr. Barron?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to, I guess first let me ask you this, how many domestic violence incidents would you say that you've responded to throughout your time in law enforcement? Rough estimate.
100 or more. It's
100 or
hard
more?
to say.
Of those 100 or more times, were there times where you would respond to a domestic and end up not arresting anyone for a domestic?
A lot of times calls will come out as a domestic, and it turns out that they are not. That's why we investigate on scene.
So what kinds of things are you looking for to determine whether or not, when you're responding to a call that says we've got a call for a possible domestic, what kinds of things are you looking for to ultimately make that decision whether or not an arrest needs to be made?
Ultimately, if there's a crime that's been committed, an act of violence.
Right, so what helps you make that determination about whether or not
Physical
a crime
evidence on scene, their testimonial on scene, their statements made to us.
Have you ever arrested a female who's the abuser in a domestic incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Ms. Mericle ever indicate to you that she had been physically abused by Mr. Barron that night?
No.
Did she ever indicate to you that Mr. Barron had ever physically abused her?
No, she stated that he has never struck her.
And did she say what they were fighting about that night?
She mainly spoke to Officer Melton on that. I just got the story from Mr. Barron when I spoke to him inside,
Okay.
because she stayed outside with Officer Melton.
Are you aware of what they were fighting about that night?
An argument over one of his previous relationships that apparently had not been broken off yet.
While you were speaking with Mr. Barron inside, what was his demeanor like?
He was very calm.
Did he ever get angry, irate? Did he ever like yell or have any aggressive body language, anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Ultimately, what helped you and Officer Melton determine that there did not need to be an arrest made that night from that incident?
Well, whenever we arrived on scene, they had no idea that we were coming. They didn't know who called. And we immediately separated them, and they were separated until we had spoke to both of them. So there was no time for them to corroborate a story or anything like that. And they both gave us pretty much the identical story about what had occurred.
And what was your understanding of what had occurred that night?
That they had went out to dinner, gotten into an argument, and the argument carried on to her condo. And whenever they got there, he stated he was going to go in and get his suitcase and leave. But whenever they got there, she would not let him in. So when he pushed the door open, she was still on the other side of it, and she fell down.
Did EMS arrive on scene that night?
She had an injury to her head, so Officer Melton did call for a squad to come check on her.
And ultimately, did they leave without transporting her to the hospital?
Yes, she signed a refusal.
If somebody decides that they want EMS to come back, that they want to be transported to the hospital, how, like if I'm at my home and I'm injured and I want for EMS to come help me, do I have to call 911 for that to happen? Do you know?
You call emergency service and request one, yes, ma'am.
Do you know if emergency service was ever called back to that residence that night or the next day?
When I checked into that, no one else had come back, and myself and Officer Melton didn't respond back to the residents after our initial.
So neither one, you or Officer Melton, responded back to that residence after you responded the night of February 1st, 2025?
To my knowledge, no one else, including us, went back out there.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Questions?
Thank you for your testimony. You're excused.
Thanks, sir.
State calls Beth Barron.